Good morning, hello, good afternoon. It's actually, what time is it here? 10:20 and I've got to leave at 10:45 or 20. I'll leave at 11, won't I? It's actually, I don't know if this is too sunny. Hello little duck. You're literally on the edge of the table. I've not even got you on a proper tripod today because I just want to sit down and have a quick chat. And this week's video, hello by the way, hello, my name is Rosie and welcome to this week's YouTube video. If you're new here, welcome to the chaos. I have just started re-recording on YouTube again. I've only been doing it for the last couple of months and I'm loving it. It's like therapy for me and it's a really nice way. I work in social media full time. It's a really nice way to take a step back from the constant like scrolling and the constant posting and just everything going out every single day. And I know I post quite a lot. I probably post once a day every day, and so I do get really swept up in just like being constantly active. And YouTube is a really lovely way to take a step back, sit down, just chill, just chat and just kind of like be one-on-one with you guys. It also feels like I can move at my pace, which is a lot slower than how social media moves. So welcome to the video and welcome to my live. Today we're going to be talking all things solo travel. I have been on an amazing solo travel adventure over the last couple of years, from going on my first solo travel trip to Venice, which was very romantic, but I love myself, to having travelled some of Asia on my own and planning my next trip to New fucking York. I'm probably going to do a few more around that too. So today I'm going to be sharing all of my advice, all of my tips, and I guess just a little bit of reassurance that you're heading in the right direction even if you are nervous. But before we do so, I just want to fill you in on some fucking sick things that have happened this week. I ran a 5k and I got a PB and I burst out crying, literally in tears. I'm having a bit of an emotional day today. If you're watching this and you have seen the video I did this week on ADHD on TikTok, this is like half an hour after posting that video. So I am a little bit emotional. My cup is fairly full and it's tipping either side, but I've got a really lovely day ahead. I'm gonna film this and then I'm just gonna pack my bag, which is actually right next to me, because I'm going to the spa today for my sister's birthday. Now this is my big sister. I claim to be all of your big sister, but this is my real life big sister, the person I learned everything from. And I've got this gorgeous swimming costume. I think it's from Alex Light. Yeah, Light London, Alex Light's brand. She is an amazing creator. I followed her for quite a few years. She's just an incredible creator and she just stands for the women. She just does everything she can to help women battle their unhealthy relationships with food and exercise and just life in general. And I really admire her. I think she's a fantastic person. Someone I'd actually really like to get on the podcast, but I haven't got a reply. So I've also picked my half marathon destination, location, what do you say? I don't even know. I honestly have the world's biggest imposter syndrome when it comes to booking this half marathon, because I've only run the 10k and that's the first I've ever run, and so running a half marathon feels a little bit ridiculous, but I'm really ready for it. I'm ready for the challenge, and I've been saying all year, it's 1 month into the year, and actually this is Sunday, so 1 month plus a few days into this year, and I have constantly said to myself, I believe in me, I can do this, I believe in myself, and I'm just believing in myself this year with everything that I do. And apart from being on time, I still haven't managed to figure that one out. But with this marathon and every single run I've done so far, I believe in me, you can keep going, you can keep doing it, and I'm saying it and I'm saying it out loud, and Henry's looking at me like you're a nut job, but I believe in me, so it doesn't matter, and I'm succeeding and I feel really good for it. And even the things that I don't feel like on another day I wouldn't have felt like they were a success, like when I ran a 4k the other day and I found it really bloody hard. Before I would have been like, oh, for God's sake, that was a rubbish run, like I just feel crap, it was really tough mentally. But I just kept saying, even though my result wasn't that great, I just kept saying, I believe in me, I believe in me, I believe in me, and I did it. I actually ran the 5k that I just did. It took me an extra 2 minutes to run that 5k, then it took me to run the 4k the other day. Oh mate, running is just amazing. Like the high it gives you is just incredible, and it just makes you feel like I'm accomplishing something. And I think that's one of the most beautiful feelings, is feeling like you're succeeding and you're achieving and you're moving forward, and I think that's really lovely. And I'm really lucky that, you know, I've got an able body and I'm able to bloody do it, so why not do it? If you've been thinking, oh my god, I'd love to run a half marathon but there's no way I could do it, I'm telling you now, that was me, even like 2 months ago. Just fucking book it, just do it, start training and start believing in yourself and say it, okay? When you're running and you're starting to struggle and you hear yourself saying something negative, speak out loud, even if you're talking to yourself, doesn't matter. Speak out loud and say the opposite. And the opposite feels ridiculous because yesterday I was like, oh my God, I'm dying when I was running. And then I went, oh my God, I'm so alive. And Henry looked at me again and was like, what are you talking about? But it did sound really cringe in the moment, I can't lie. I did like curl my toes a little bit, but I thought, it's true. Actually, the opposite is true. I am so alive, I'm so young, I'm full of so much energy, I'm so alive. So I just believed it and I just kept going, and honestly, it really helped. So, right, putting the running stuff aside, let me know if you do want me to like document that. I am documenting it a bit on my Instagram. Let me know if you want like a little bit going on here on YouTube. I might do like Q&As and stuff here on YouTube because I am learning, and this is a big part, especially if you're new here, hello again, I am learning how I operate a lot better since my ADHD diagnosis, and I know that I cannot commit to doing a weekly running vlog and keeping you updated in that way, because the actual physical process and practical like process of recording a section of my day every single day for 5 days and showing how I'm getting on with my running, I honestly can't, I don't do it very well, and I often forget, and I also feel a lot of like pressure, like, oh my God, should I have also recorded my breakfast? Should I have also recorded my lunch? Should I also have recorded that walk I did? Should I also have recorded this thing that's going on at the end of the day? Like, I get really overwhelmed by it. So I think I'm just gonna go back to almost like old school YouTube, where I just sit down and do a video, apart from when we travel, because I will for sure be doing vlogs when we travel, but I will just sit down and do a video in this like half an hour, and then I'll get up and I'll move on. And it's working really well for me to like almost categorize and schedule this time in and then move on to the next thing. Or if there are any type of other videos, like, I don't know, like running clothing hauls, you know, let's make it fun, let's make it girly, why not? So not much else has gone on this week. It has been a really lovely week though, and I'm just feeling very grateful, and I'm feeling a lot of love at the moment. I think I just like, I'm not sleeping well, and the guy at the gym, this guy at the gym was like, maybe it's the moon. And my friend Georgia is like really spiritual, and I texted her and I said, this guy said maybe it's the moon, like, can you check what's going on up there and let me know? My sleep does really affect my mental, like I do feel like a level of sadness when I don't sleep well, and I don't really know what it is. It's probably because my cup is overflowing, but I am just kind of pushing through and just cracking on with the week because I have some amazing things going on. Today I'm going to Nirvana's spa. Now, my mum and dad, right, I've talked about this before, but we did not come from money. My parents were in a lot of debt with me when I was growing up. And when my mum and dad really got like their financials in order, and over the last like 5-6 years, they've been doing really well, and they decided to treat themselves to a membership at Nirvana's spa. I obviously love the finer things in life, and so today, for my sister's birthday actually, my mum and I are taking her to Nirvana's spa. I've got an alright weekend ahead. I've got yappy hour downstairs. Our apartment block is full of, oh my God, I want to say like 15 dogs. So we're going to do a yappy hour for them on Saturday morning, which will be lovely. Then after that, we're recording the podcast. And then after that, in the evening, I have my favourite little cousin's birthday. I know you shouldn't pick a favourite, but everyone knows we're each other's favourite. So I've got her birthday in the evening. And then the following morning on Sunday, guys, pray for me, I'm going back to our old house in Basingstoke for the very last time, because we are doing all the final finishings before the tenants move in on Monday. So I very much expect Sunday to be a stressful day, and I've written off Monday morning so that I can have a slow morning, go for a dog walk, have coffee, catch up on some paperwork, and just like kind of ease myself back into the week, because Sunday is not going to be relaxing by any means. And I've moved my gym class to midday on Monday instead. Have I done that? I don't think I have. Anyways, beside the point, I've actually been talking your ear off for 10 minutes. We haven't even got into the video yet. I will leave in the description how far forward to like whiz past all of this if you literally only have 15 minutes and you just want to talk about solo travel. Okay, right. Let's go. First question. These are actually questions that you guys sent me a little while ago that I'm going to go through. What is the one thing that you know now that you wish you knew before you started? I wish I knew how quickly time would fly when you're away, and I think that sounds a little bit obvious, but it's worth pointing out because when you're away and you're on your own, in the moment it does feel like time's moving quite slowly because you are alone and you're not as distracted. But when I look back on it now, I think, oh my god, those 4 days in Venice literally just like flew by. From the second that you get there to the second you leave, it really is just like a whirlwind of emotions, of experiences, and it does absolutely fly by. So do pre-work before you go away, whether that's like journaling or whatever it is, to kind of take a step back from your life at home to help you become a little bit more present with your travel trip. And what I mean by that is, like, when I got to Venice, straight away I was like a little bit overwhelmed. You guys know I had a bit of like an icky situation on my first day. It wasn't until that situation that I actually felt present in the moment, because before that I was just thinking about, like, at home I was thinking about how cool it was that I was there, but I wasn't really like embracing me being there. And then that icky situation happened and I was like, right, I'm actually really here, I'm actually really not at home. And it kind of became a reality and I was kind of forced to be present with being there, and it was the best thing, because I just felt very connected to what I was doing for the rest of the time. But I do not want you guys to ever experience an icky situation, so don't want that to be the reason that you have a good time at the same time. So yeah, if I was looking back on old me 2 years ago, I would just give her a little shake and give her a little hug before she left and just say, breathe, leave home at home, and just be present with where you're going. Have you ever cancelled a trip because you felt the place to be too dangerous? No, that's not happened, and I think it's because I've not gone on a huge amount of trips. I've been to Venice, I've been to Thailand, I've been to Vietnam, and I am going to New York. I've done a couple of like staycations in the UK, just like privately, just when I've had like time away from social media and stuff, and that's been really lovely. But nowhere's been dangerous. I think it's really clear online, do a bit of research, and there are places that are kind of, there are a lot of websites that advise you not to go to certain places. And if you Google like dangerous places to visit as a solo female traveller, you will get a lot of answers. And so it's worth just doing a little bit of research before you decide to book anywhere, to kind of get a feel for what's very safe, what's dangerous. And don't just focus on the negative, maybe Google the safest places to travel as a female traveller instead. Question 3, what are some of your strategies for deflecting unwanted attention as a girl when you're abroad? Okay, that's a really good question. I hadn't actually thought about that. As kind of sad as the reality of this is, don't smile at everyone. I'd really advise not to smile at everyone and to not give people your time of day. So not everyone, but when I had that icky situation, long story short, this guy started following me, he started chatting to me at a coffee shop, and then he wouldn't leave me alone. And I wish that from the get-go, I felt like a really bad feeling in my chest when he started speaking to me. I wish I trusted that gut feeling, and I just cut the conversation and didn't respond to him. But it's much harder to do that in the moment, but use this as like your reminder and your reassurance that you're allowed to just be rude. And if your gut is telling you something, then I'd much rather you risk being rude than putting yourself in danger, and I think you'd agree. So my advice, yeah, would just to almost have a little bit of a sour face on you and don't look approachable. You don't want to walk around looking really smiley and like you're having the best time ever, because you do look a little bit vulnerable, and it's really sad that us as women have to, you know, advise this to each other. It's really fucking sad, to be honest, but that's something that we can talk about another day. And I don't mean walk around with literally like a dead face on you the whole time that you're there, wherever you are. Don't feel like you're obliged to smile at everyone that smiles at you. I also didn't go out at night until I had made a friend, and when I'd made a friend, we'd go out together and kind of be each other's like support system, and that was really, really nice. But I would advise trying to get back to your hotel or wherever you're staying before like the street lights come on, kind of thing. As someone who is planning the first solo trip and some long-term travel, what is the most important piece of advice you could give? Oh my god, that is such a hard question. Okay, I think it really boils down to preparation. You definitely need to get yourself prepared, and I don't mean like planning all the little bits of your trip, but I mean making sure you have the right visas, making sure you have cash in the local currency, making sure that your passport is in a safe place. Like, be prepared in that way so that you're never caught in a really, really uncomfortable situation where you've lost your passport or you're getting rejected at the fucking borders because you didn't like double check your visa. And I think that's especially important when you're looking at long haul, because that's the stuff that can really screw you over. Not as important as short haul, because you're just kind of then surviving for a few days and then coming home. And as a solo traveller, Henry gave me the best advice before I left, and it was really sweet actually, because he's never really solo travelled. He has done a lot of travelling but with a friend, and he said to me, look, it's overwhelming, but when you get there, you just have to think everything is overwhelming because it's unfamiliar, and it's unfamiliar which is what makes it uncomfortable, because like us as human nature, like we like what's familiar. And so his advice was just to do everything once, and once you've done everything once, and I mean everything, once you've walked into your hotel room the first time, once you've brushed your teeth the first time, once you've had a shower and got ready for the day the first time, once you've eaten on your own for the first time, once you've walked the street on the first time, once you've done everything once on that first day, it will feel a little bit overwhelming because it's unfamiliar, but after that first day, it just completely dissolves. You will gain this like sense of security and confidence that you actually know what you're doing, and all of those negative emotions like completely disappeared for me. So I think as a first time solo traveller, just focus on doing everything once and then enjoying yourself. Bit of a weird question, but I just wanted to check in to see if you felt lonely on your solo travel trips. Yes, I did. For the first one, I definitely felt lonely because I had been experiencing some really cool stuff, like going to the islands on the boat from Venice, and I honestly had the best time, and I kept thinking, oh, I wish Henry was here, like it'd be so lovely to experience it together. And so I did feel a little bit lonely in that sense, but actually I think it's a really beautiful thing to experience something on your own, and to only have that memory and to have that experience so unique to yourself, that even if they have done it but at a different time in their life, it would never have been the exact same as what you would experience when you went. And I just think there's something really special and sacred about that. And when I was in Thailand and Vietnam, that was tough. It was tough after the third week being away from Henry, because the novelty of like being away kind of wore off, and I was just really missing him. I was ill. Being ill when you're away from home is just, like we all know, it's just a horrible feeling. So I did struggle in that sense. But the best thing to do when you feel lonely is to try to make friends. And I was lucky when I was in Vietnam, I actually travelled it with a couple of uni friends. And when I started to feel really lonely, I actually just went to them and I spoke to them. I was like, guys, I'm missing home. I'm feeling really lonely. And they just made me feel a lot better, you know, gave me a cuddle, and we went out for like a special meal that day, and just being able to like communicate it to someone else really helped, because I felt like it wasn't like something that was weighing me down, and it was just like a commonly experienced emotion, if that makes sense. So if you're not traveling with a friend or don't know people, then use the loneliness as a sign that you're ready to start making friends wherever you are. Have you found it difficult to talk to the locals in Bali? No. They know so much English. Like, they honestly, Bali is one of the most incredible countries I've ever been to. It's so safe, it's so beautiful, it's so kind, like in their nature, like in every single person I met, in their nature was just so much kindness and warmth, and so welcoming, and their English is really bloody good, so I didn't struggle at all. In Venice I didn't struggle, but I did struggle a tiny bit because it's so touristy. It was a little bit easier. And in Vietnam there were times that I struggled, but I did end up doing a lot of my travelling with a guide, so it's a lot easier. Have you noticed any female inequality when you travel solo? Do you get the same treatment and opportunities as male travellers? Now, this question I actually got from a website called Nomadic Mat. I don't know how you say that, but I actually got that question from a website because I thought it was a really important question to answer. I have never noticed like a significant difference between how I was treated versus any men that I was like traveling with or had encountered on my trip. But I would say that sometimes in restaurants and sometimes like in hostels and hotels and stuff, that the staff, because of their own cultural upbringing, will automatically address the man first, and sometimes only speak directly to the man and only look at the man. And that's because of a respect thing. And I'm very aware of this because when I went to India, it was very much like that. And yes, we would consider that to be quite backwards and to be quite misogynistic, but you also do have to respect that you're going to a country that is not as privileged and not as developed as England or Ireland or America. And so that would happen, but I would just take it as a sign of respect more than anything, because that's what their intention is, and you just kind of have to accept it because you're in their country at the end of the day, and it's their culture. So don't try to push upon the English culture in a country that's not England. Okay, second last question. Is there a specific age that you would recommend for solo traveling? No, no way. I'm glad. I always regretted not going when I was at uni, when I was like 18, 19, 20. But now that I'm older, I'm really glad that I waited until I was like 24, 25. I think my first trip was when I was 25. I'm glad I was a little bit older, because when I was younger, I was very naive, and we kind of laugh about this quite a lot because I am a sucker for peer pressure. Like, if I'm being self-aware, I would definitely have gotten myself in some bad situations. Whereas now I've definitely got my wits about me, and I'm glad that I've gone a little bit older. But in saying that, I still think if I went when I was younger, I would have had the most amazing time, the most amazing experiences. So I just don't think that there's an age on it. I've actually had someone message me before being like, I'm 35 and I'm married with a couple of kids and I feel ridiculous, but I really want to go on a solo travel and I regret not doing it yet. Just fucking go. Honestly, like, just go, spend a few days away for yourself. It's such a huge act of self-love and self-care is going on a solo travel trip, because not only are you going on a trip where the only person you have to think of is yourself, but everything you do is for you, and just that mindset and that act of doing these things for you, which yes, you can then adapt to your day-to-day life at home, is much easier when you're abroad, especially if it's something that's not familiar to you and you're not super comfortable, like being quite selfish. I would say going away and being abroad will actually show you a really clear difference in how you do it when you're on holiday, when you're solo traveling, versus how you behave at home, and you could try to adapt some of those learnings. So yeah, there's definitely no age for it. I think it has positive benefits all throughout your life. So if you're thinking about doing it, then I just really want you to go for it, because it's made me so happy doing it, and I think it will make you happy too. Last question. When it comes to travel, do you ever struggle with the fact that you're now renting and that you feel like you should be buying and not traveling? Okay, good question. I feel like a lot of us have kind of had the same thought process before. So when I started solo travel, I was in my bought a house, and we're now renting that house out, so I kind of know at the back of my mind, like, I have got an asset at home if I really need it. But honestly, I don't think it makes any difference. I think if you're unsure what to do, then go traveling, because money comes and money goes. Like I said in the last podcast episode, it's just about learning to manage your money. So go traveling, go and enjoy yourself, and then come home, and in no way are you far behind. Like, if you are, let's say 35, I pick on the same lady, let's say you're 35, you're single or you're in a relationship but you don't have a house and you just spent the last few years traveling, I promise you, the girl that is 29 or 27 like me, who has stayed at home, bought a house, and doesn't feel like she can go traveling because she's tied down, she's got commitments here, she doesn't have the same sense of freedom, I promise you, she is very jealous of what you've done and you're very jealous of what she's done. And I think it's just a case of always wanting what you don't have. And the only reason we do that, or one of the main reasons that we do that, and I do that personally, is because when life gets tough for you, you just start thinking that everybody else's life is easier and that everything comes to them so naturally. And it fucking doesn't. Like, people struggle a lot more than us, but they also struggle just as much as us. But anyways, I hope you guys found that solo travel Q&A helpful. My last piece of advice is just to go for it, just to book that flight. And a lot of people say, like, I just don't know where to start. Book the flight, because you can always cancel a hotel and it doesn't feel like much of a commitment in my opinion. So book the flights, have your flights booked. I've booked my flights for New York and I have a little bit more money in my pocket, then I will start looking at hotels. And after that, then just ask around, ask people who have either been to the country that you're visiting, or ask on groups like Gals Who Travel is an amazing group, or Girls Club Homies, ask on my group, or just message me and I can always put it on my Instagram story and you'll get tons of recommendations. And also remember the reason why you're going away. Perform this act of self-love and self-care, the ultimate act of self-love and self-care in my opinion. Also to explore this beautiful country and to experience something new. So really focus on taking a step back, being present with what you're doing, and appreciate your own braveness, because it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. Right, thanks guys so much for watching this video. What is the time? Oh my god, it's 5 to 11. I actually need to quickly pack this bag and get in the car, and I will see you guys next week for another video. Also, thank you so much for your love on the Healing Diaries. I really appreciated it. Love you guys, bye.